My name is Professor Stephen Emmerman. I have a BS in mathematics from The Ohio State University, MA in geophysics from Princeton University, and PhD in geophysics from Cornell University. I have 31 years of experience teaching hydrology and geophysics, including teaching as a Fulbright professor in Ecuador and Nepal, and I have over 70 peer-reviewed publications in these areas. Since 2018, I have been the owner of Malach Consulting, which specializes in evaluating the environmental impacts of mining for mining companies as well as governmental and non-governmental organizations. I have evaluated proposed and existing mining projects in North America, South America, Europe, Africa, Asia, and Oceania, and I have testified on issues of mining and water before the U.S. House of Representatives Subcommittee on Indigenous Peoples of the United States, the European Parliament, the United Nations Permanent Forum on Indigenous Issues, and the United Nations Environment Assembly. I am one of the authors of Safety First, Guidelines for Responsible Mine Tailings Management. Today I talk again about the proposed DPM mine in North Sumatra. In 2022, DPM obtained environmental approval for a mine that included a tailings storage facility, a tailings dam for about 2.5 million tons of tailings. They would put the maximum amount of tailings back underground as cemented paste. The remaining would go to a tailings dam and would be acid producing and toxic. That environmental approval was challenged in the court. The tailings dam they proposed would be dangerous. It would be constructed on unconsolidated volcanic ash foundations, would be in a high earthquake and storm event zone. If they built such a tailings dam, it would likely collapse or fail in other ways. In other places, when tailings dams have collapsed, they have killed hundreds of people. They have destroyed villages and poisoned rivers, often for hundreds of kilometers. I calculated that, after the planned dam was filled, even if it did not collapse, it would overflow untreated water into the stream that supplies many villages 15% of the time. So it was very appropriate that in 2024, the Supreme Court ruled that the 2022 environmental approval should be revoked, and it was revoked in 2025. But now DPM have produced another Andal addendum and have requested new environmental approval. They say their plans are now safe. I disagree. They now say they will not need to have a tailings dam. They say they will put all the tailings back underground, mixed into a paste with water and cement. Let's first note that by excluding a tailings dam from their 2025 Andal, DPM is actually admitting that any tailings dam in Dairi would be dangerous and likely to result in a disaster. That is important. Now let's discuss the new plans. I am one of the U.S. representatives to the International Organization on Standardization's Technical Advisory Group on Underground Mine Tailings Backfill. I have decades of experience with these issues. In a November 2025 draft Andal addendum, there was no justification provided by DPM to support the idea that 100% of tailings can go back underground. Actually, it's impossible. Industry experience is that only 50 to 60% of tailings can be returned to the underground mining cavity. This is widely known. When ore is mined, it expands. It becomes too large to put back into the underground cavity from which it came. I am sure DPM knows this. So why are DPM saying it is possible? Probably to get environmental approval, then say, hey, we now need to build a tailings dam for the tailings that will not fit underground. Then say, but we have started the mine and we cannot stop. It is a trick that some mining companies have used in the past. In actual fact, DPM will still need to have a tailings dam for 2.5 million tons of toxic tailings in an extremely dangerous location. Don't be fooled. Essentially, The 2025-2026 Andal addenda are for the same project as the one that was approved in 2022, that the Indonesian Supreme Court then ruled must be revoked. I also see that DPM have been very active getting articles into unsuspecting media outlets. In those, they imply that backfilling of 100% of tailings has been successful in other mines. They say the Linglong gold mine, China, uses cemented tailings backfill. They say Tasmania's bluestone mines use a cemented paste backfill. Backfilling is a good technique, but these mines do not pretend to say they can backfill 100% of tailings. The Linglong gold mine has a tailings dam with over 20 million cubic meters capacity. The Bluestone mine aims to reprocess 22.5 million tons of historical tailings and involves the proposed construction of a new tailings storage facility with over 35 million ton capacity. Nothing has really changed with the proposed DPM mine. They have avoided having mention of a tailings dam in their new Andal addendum, but they will still need a tailings dam for about 2.5 million tons of toxic tailings. Any such dam in Dairi would still be an extreme risk to people and the environment. I would also add that any company that tries to hide the need for a tailings dam and tries to claim that 100% backfilling is possible is not a company I would trust. Of all the hundreds of mine proposals I have reviewed, this is the worst and most untrustworthy. If the Indonesian government approves the mine, I am sure there will be a disaster, and it will trash the reputation of the Indonesian government, as well as destroy the lives of many people in Dairi.